US30 Index, Dow Jones Industrial Average, Introduction. The US30 Index, more formally known as the Dow Jones Industrial Average, DJIA, is one of the oldest and most widely recognized stock market indices in the world. It serves as a barometer of the health and direction of the US economy and equity markets. Established in the late 19th century, the US30 represents the performance of 30 large, publicly traded companies that are leaders in their respective industries. Its long history, global influence, and role as a benchmark for investors make it a cornerstone of financial markets worldwide. This video provides an in-depth exploration of the US30 Index, including its history, composition, methodology, importance, trading strategies, economic influence, and controversies. The discussion is structured to cover the topic comprehensively. Detail about US30. The historical context of the US30. The creation of the US30 in 1896 was a response to the growing need for a reliable measure of market performance during a period of rapid industrialization in the United States. Charles Dow, co-founder of Dow Jones and Company and editor of the Wall Street Journal, introduced the index with the intent of summarizing stock market movements in a single figure that could be easily understood by investors and the general public. At its inception, the index contained 12 industrial companies, such as American Tobacco, General Electric, and US Leather, that were representative of the nation's industrial backbone at the time. The late 19th century helped the emergence of the United States as a rising industrial power. Railroads, steel, oil, and manufacturing were expanding at unprecedented rates, transforming the US economy into one of the world's largest. The DJIA was thus an attempt to capture this economic dynamism in numerical form. Over time, the number of companies in the index grew to 30 by 1928, and it has remained at that size ever since. This stability, however, does not imply stagnation. Rather, the companies included in the index have changed dramatically to reflect shifts in the American economy. The evolution of the index. The US30 has evolved from a list of heavy industrial players into a reflection of broader economic sectors. While it initially emphasized industries like steel, mining, oil, and railroads, its composition today includes leaders in technology, healthcare, finance, and consumer goods. Companies such as Apple, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, and Goldman Sachs. The symbolic value of the US30. Beyond numbers and technical calculations, the US30 holds deep symbolic value. It is more than an index, it is a cultural and psychological marker of American prosperity. Financial news outlets worldwide reference the DJ headlines, making its daily performance a shorthand for the health of the US economy. When the index reaches new highs, it fuels optimism, not just among investors, but also in the broader public, reinforcing confidence in growth and stability. Conversely, sharp declines often stoke fear, spreading beyond financial markets into political discourse and consumer sentiment. The symbolism of crossing milestones, such as 10,000 points in 1999, 20,000 in 2017, and 30,000 in 2020 transcends technical finance. These thresholds are celebrated as national achievements and widely reported in mainstream media. This symbolic role underscores the DJIA's cultural impact and explains its enduring popularity despite methodological limitations. The role of the US30 in global finance. The US30 is not just an American index, it is a global benchmark. International investors and policymakers closely monitor its movements as an indicator of global economic trends. Because the 30 constituent companies are multinational giants, their performance reflects not only domestic, but also international conditions. For example, a slowdown in China's economy can affect companies like Apple or Boeing, which in turn influences the DJIA. The index also serves as the basis for numerous investment products, including ETFs, futures, and options. The SPDR Dow Jones Industrial Average ETF DIA allows investors to gain exposure to the index as a whole, while futures contracts on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange provide opportunities for hedging and speculation. As a result, the DJIA is deeply integrated into the structure of global financial markets. Why the US30 matters today. In the modern financial landscape, dominated by algorithmic trading, globalized markets, and diversified instruments, one might wonder why the DJIA bill holds such relevance. The answer lies in a combination of tradition, accessibility, and media presence. Investors and non-investors alike recognize the US30, and its daily movements are often the first reference point for understanding how markets are performing. Adaptation to the modern economy. This ongoing transformation illustrates how the DJIA as a mirror of US economic progress over more than a century. Several historic milestones highlight the DJIA's importance: the 1929 crash and Great Depression. The US30 lost nearly 90% of its value from its peak in 1929 to its low in 1932. This catastrophic decline marked the beginning of the Great Depression, cementing the index's role as a reference point for economic despair. Post-World War II growth, the index steadily climbed as America experienced economic expansion, reflecting prosperity and industrial growth. The 1987 Black Monday crash, on October 19, 1987, the DJIA fell 22.6% in one day, its largest single-day percentage drop. The shock highlighted the interconnectedness of global markets and the fragility of investor confidence. Crossing 10,000 points in 1999, breaking this psychological barrier symbolized the era of robust economic growth and investor optimism during the dot-com boom. The 2008 financial crisis, the J plunge during the collapse of Lehman Brothers, and the subprime mortgage crisis, underscoring the vulnerability of financial systems. COVID-19 pandemic 2020. Extreme volatility defined this period, with record-setting point swings in both directions, reflecting global uncertainty and the rapid response of monetary and fiscal policies. US30 methodology and unique features. One distinguishing feature of the US30 is its price-weighted calculation methodology, a characteristic that sets it apart from most modern indices, which are typically market cap weighted. In a price-weighted index, companies with higher share prices exert more influence on the overall movement of the index than lower-priced stocks. For instance, a $400 stock can impact the index far more than a $50 stock, regardless of the relative market capitalization of the companies involved. This structure reflects Charles Dow's original design, but has often been criticized as outdated. To address continuity issues, such as stock splits and dividends, the DJIA is a mathematical constant known as the Dow divisor. This divisor ensures that changes in the index reflect real market movements rather than technical adjustments. While the system allows for consistency, it also reinforces the criticism that the index gives disproportionate weight to a few high-priced companies. Despite these criticisms, the DJIA's methodology has endured for over a century, demonstrating its resilience as a trusted indicator to follow, even if it is less comprehensive than other indices. Moreover, the DJIA remains a critical reference for policymakers, businesses, and individual investors. Its fluctuations influence economic policy decisions, investor behavior, and even consumer confidence. For many, the DJIA embodies the pulse of American capitalism. Composition of the US30 index. Criteria for inclusion. The companies included in the US30 are selected by the editors of the Wall Street Journal, based on criteria such as market leadership within their sector, stable earnings and global presence, representation of the broader US economy, Current components. As of recent years, the index includes companies across industries such as technology, Apple, Microsoft, Intel, finance, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Chase, healthcare, Johnson & Johnson, Omgain, consumer goods, Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, Nike. Industrials, Caterpillar, Boeing, 3M, sectoral representation. The index attempts to balance different industries, but it is not strictly diversified. Some sectors may be underrepresented compared to broader indices like the S&P 500. Why is US30 trading so popular? US30 trading is popular for several reasons, one being its volatility. This index experiences large price swings and creates unique trading opportunities. For example, during major news events, the US30 index can move hundreds of points within minutes, allowing skilled traders to capitalize on these fluctuations. Also, Forex trading on US30 CFDs is available almost 24/5, which allows traders from different time zones to participate. Additionally, Dow Jones has a great global influence and high market relevancy because the US economy drives the global markets and is closely watched by traders worldwide. Any major movements in the US30 index can have an influence on the other indices, currencies, and commodities. This is because the Dow Jones includes companies with the largest market capitalization, meaning any movement in them can have a direct effect. Why is US30 so volatile? The US30 index volatility can happen for multiple reasons at different times. For instance, news and economic data releases like major reports NFP, GDP, or Fed statements can cause significant price swings. In addition to this, earning reports of key companies in the Dow Jones are also very essential because with unexpected results the entire index can react sharply. The US30 has high liquidity and involves millions of traders, which means prices can change dramatically in short time frames, and investor sentiment, whether fear or greed, can drive the path to quick market reactions, leading to rapid price changes. For example, if the Fed raises interest rates and leads to a drastic drop in the US30 index in a single day, then this movement could highly attract day traders and scalpers who thrive on short-term price fluctuations. Final words. The US30 index, Dow Jones Industrial Average, is far more than just a number on a ticker board. It is a historical artifact, a financial tool, and a cultural symbol rolled into one. From its birth in the 19th century industrial boom to its current status as a global benchmark, the DJIA has remained central to the way markets are understood and interpreted. While it has its limitations, particularly in methodology and representation, it continues to stand as one of the most recognized and referenced indices in the world. Its history is intertwined with major economic events. Its methodology reflects both tradition and controversy, and its symbolism reaches beyond finance into the realm of public consciousness. For all these reasons, the introduction to the US30 must emphasize not only its technical details, but also its profound role as a mirror of American economic identity and global financial influence.